The tech debt is piling up. But how can you make a convincing case to dedicate limited resources to tackling code refactoring instead of flashy features? I'm Josh, software exec, former startup founder and consultant, and on this channel, we crack open the secrets of the software industry. Tech debt is the silent killer, stalking the shadows, and it's often too late once it's seen. But staying on top of it early can be a hard pill to swallow, especially when resources are lean. It can be really tempting to focus on those flashy new features, and it can be hard to make a good case for utilizing your limited engineering resources to tackle tech debt, especially when there's a product wish list longer than War and Peace waiting for your team, and sales has dollar values attached to those flashy new features. That's why it's so important to be able to articulate and actualize the very real costs of not handling tech debt. So opportunity cost in the form of development speed is a big one. So the good chance it's taking your developers several cycles longer to implement new features because they're fighting tech debt along the way. Clearing the debt first can actually gain resources in the long run. Look at it this way. If we ignore tech debt now, it's going to take, say, 2 months to get the new feature up and running. But if we dedicate just 2 weeks now, we'll be in a position where we can get a nice modular feature dropped into place in a month, shaving 2 weeks off the goal line and potentially freeing time in future projects just by delaying the start by a couple weeks. Look, it's a little bit of an exaggeration. Usually it's going to take more than one project until you start seeing the results, but it's going to be less time than you think. But it's important to track and quantify that time savings over weeks or months or years in your assessment. You'll be improving the speed and getting more done in less time and saving resources because you took that extra time at the beginning. Now, there may actually be features that you can't implement because your engine is out of date or an old version of your code doesn't support the requirements of new libraries and things like that. Oftentimes, when you're implementing a new feature, they have a lot of prerequisites like other libraries, versions, code. This needs PHP 8 or MySQL 7 or whatever. You need to even potentially have security patches that are required on a server. Now, we'll get to security in a second. But if that's the case, then this is a very real and very quantifiable cost to not handling that tech debt and those updates, because now the ROI of those projects, that's part of your tech debt cleanup budget. Security cost is the last big one to bring up. You have to stay on top of security patches. But the problem is, if you're doing your job and staying on top of it, the cost is never realized, so it's very easy to overlook. But it still has to be factored into the total cost of not handling tech debt because those costs, in the form of leaked data, customer impact, legal, that's the cost of not staying on top of security, right? Risk assessment is a big part of any company, and the assessment of leaked data or a bad actor getting into your system, and the time it takes to reset and lock everything down, those are big costs and are probably already analyzed and therefore accessible as a part of that tech debt assessment. So when you're doing that cost benefit analysis, should we do it now? Should we put it off to later? It's important to know the actual material costs of not handling the tech debt. And hopefully those 3 points that we just went through, the cost of speed, the cost of features, and the cost of security are able to help you make that decision. So if you found that helpful, please like the video, share any horror stories you have about piling up tech debt in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. And if you'd like to see more videos on software and the tech industry, follow along with the channel. There'll be more coming soon.